Hey, welcome to the podcast, Lani.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Very cool. A question I love to ask every guest just to get things kicked off is who do you say you are?
Who do I say I am? I'm Lonnie the Adventurer. And what does that mean? That's a whole different story.
Well, I guess to kind of get into that, like how did you become this adventurer? Because like seeing you on online and like I was just kind of curious how in the world are you even able to film as well as you film being on your bike and just being like, oh yeah, here's this view, here's that view. And I'm like, you're multi-talented. I've never been able to ride my bike without both hands on the steering wheel, nonetheless try to like film myself doing it. But that's pretty neat.
I I wasn't good at first, and when I first started riding, actually, I say my phone committed suicide. So it fell out of my hands, and then it got ran over by a car. So my handling skills have gotten quite better since then, and I try not to, hold my phone or anything when I'm like going super fast or when there's a lot of traffic around. But to answer the question of how I got the name Lonnie the Adventurer, it comes because I'm very curious. And so I just started cycling about a year ago. And within the past, I guess, 3 years, I've tried a lot of different sports, especially endurance sports. So I started off doing kind of 5Ks with my kids, and I was doing the going to the gym more, and then I started doing Spartan races. And then an injury I received there led me to more endurance sports. Which led me to cycling and trying my first triathlon, and also led me to doing my first adventure race, which is another multi-discipline sport, which includes kayaking or canoeing, some type of paddling modality, and running or trekking and cycling, well, mountain biking. And so that I did my first adventure race this year, and I'm about to do a race in September.
Mhm.
And I started cycling in about June of last year. So this is 2022, so in 2021. So, but I fell in love with cycling overall. It's probably my favorite modality right now.
Nice.
And I challenged myself immensely in that, completing like multiple century rides. So I started cycling in June, and I completed my first century ride in August of 2021. And my goal from the moment I started cycling was to kind of do an epic ride from San Francisco to Santa Monica.
Well,
And I knew how I was going to do that. And so excuse me, over the course of that year, things just kind of fell into place. And I recently completed that goal and rode 500 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
wow. I guess what like you said, cycling was the thing that kind of gave you that little itch that you wanted to scratch just doing these adventurous sports. Like what like why cycling?
Well, at the time, I was recovering from a complex leg injury, and my orthopedic surgeon told me to cycle to build back up my quad strength, because originally I was trying to get back to running. And every time I like tried to run, it just hurt. And I was cycling, and cycling didn't hurt. And I realized quickly that I can go further cycling, and I could see more cycling. And it just was, um, I don't know, it was more appealing to me because I could challenge myself in a different way. Like
Right.
running, there's a lot of challenges you can do running as well. But cycling, a whole different one. The sport, it's just totally different. If you get into it, you learn more. Like bikes are different. And there's different types of cycling. There's like people that cycle for leisure, and then there's cycling like endurance rides, then there's actual racing, and there's different types of racing, which I won't really get into because I don't race. But Cycling was it just fit better for me.
Got you. I it's funny, I got a bike, I think 3 years ago because I also wanted to get into cycling. I kind of I watched the Tour de France back in the day, like, maybe 2007-ish, 2004-ish, when I think Lance Armstrong was kind of going through his like, making his run. I know
Mhm.
some people don't wanna acknowledge him, but it happened, kinda moment in history, but I alwa I like you said, I have that respect for cycling, like, just being able to go further and, like, being able to see more things and, um, your legs not being completely wore out. But it's that the reason I guess I haven't been able to get back into it is because I can't figure out what's going on with my back tire, and I got this, like, mountain bike, and, just for some reason, I thought I put air in the back tire and it won't take. I thought I switched out the air tube and it still won't take, but I'm sure after having this conversation with you, I'll figure it out and make a reason to go back out there and maybe cycle a little bit for leisure.
Right, definitely. Take it to the shop, get it checked out, get
Yeah,
out there, right, get inspired to, go a little further, do some get some new goals for 2023.
yeah, yeah. And I guess, like you even mentioned, like, I think the last shop I tried to take it to was a bike shop, not a bicycle shop, and I was like, "I'm pretty sure I looked this up online. It's not that," and then when I show up, it is that, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll try again another time."
Yeah, you know where I end up going?
Where's that?
REI,
Mm,
because I'm like, they're everywhere almost. They have like a bike sections and they have a bike shop in the back. So
mm,
it's convenient. It might be a little more money than other shops, but I like the convenience of it.
right. Well, it's funny, I was thinking maybe I should make a special trip back up to the bike shop where I got mine initially because I don't think I've been back there since, but I might look up for a local REI. But I guess, like, so you did the cycling in order to rehab yourself, and you kind of fell in love with it because it wasn't as stressful on your legs, and then did that just you just kept going down that route to find the adventure, or, like, what what was it like, just the sights around being where you're at and seeing how beautiful it always is all the time, like
um Something like that, but I also started reading more and listening to podcasts and interviews from other cyclists and seeing what they are doing, like like these rides across America, and there's like a trail called the Great Divide that Brooke Gowdy did, and then there's like all these epic things that cyclists have been doing that we don't even know about because we don't even know about cycling.
mhm,
So that intrigues me and piques my interest because now I get to do something challenging and I have something to work towards, and it's beautiful. Like everywhere I go, is something more, it's different and beautiful. Like riding through Oakland, most people will look at it like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of buildings and graffiti, but I'm like, that's some beautiful graffiti, like the street art. So it just is inspiring in different ways. One moment.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, you're good. Well, that's pretty cool. To your point about the graffiti, I'd never really seen a lot. The most I've ever seen was like going to Miami for the first time, and they seem to have like this whole neighborhood where it's like dedicated to street art. So just like walking around there or riding around there was like, that's pretty neat to see.
That's awesome. I have to go there.
Yeah. Um, I saved pictures on my phone and I'm pretty sure I like pinned it. So if I once I find it, I'll send it to you.
Okay, awesome.
So I guess to kind of go back to that trip that you took, that was 500 miles from you said from where to where? It was
San Francisco. Well, we started in Oakland and we took a ferry to San Francisco and went over the bay. And then we cycled basically to Los Angeles over the course of 7 days.
so you had
So
a whole group set up with you and you guys kind of planned it out so you weren't just like winging it.
Oh yeah, definitely not. No, yeah, we had a group. The organization Major Taylor Los Angeles, which is a cycling club out here. They one of the members there organized the whole ride, and had SAG support for us along the way. So we had nutrition and hydration the whole way, and support if we needed help, like flats and stuff like that. And room and board. Like there's a lot of multi-day rides that have to do camps. And so the thing that stood out about this ride for me is that we got to stay in hotels. So it was more comfortable.
Yeah. So you guys didn't have to just rough it out in the woods or off the beaten path.
Yeah, no, they had it was really a little bougie, I guess, because tag vehicles bring our stuff.
Yeah. But
Sorry.
no, you're good. But I guess even to that point, I was trying to remember the last time I went camping, and I think it was with my roommate right around the time I got the or no, I think I got my bike soon after because it was either after or before, but like we went mountain bike riding up in Northeast Georgia, and it was it's called Tallulah Falls, and it's got like this great scenery and different paths and things like that that you can take, but never having ridden a mountain bike before and just riding throughout there and just seeing what it takes going with someone that's from Arizona and being used to like all of the outdoors and things like that. It's like I'd like to do this again, but I need I need a little bit more preparation. Like make sure the bike work, the brakes work. Like you're not just roughing it, and you've got whatever greenery's kind of coming in around you, and it's like it can kind of cut you up pretty quickly if you're not ready for it, and you just got to keep blazing through there.
Yeah, it's totally different in different areas. I think I've seen pictures from that area. But yeah, I've also noticed that like it's different. Like you were saying, Arizona and then Georgia and the greenery. I think we did our adventure race in a place called um it was in Virginia. I don't remember the name of this city right now or the little town. But I'm used to mountains in California, and I'm used to it being dry and kind of deserty. Whereas there, it was a lot of trees and a lot of, and it was just totally different. We're supposed to ride our bikes, like our
Mhm.
mountain. And I'm a newbie to mountain biking. So I'm over here practicing in, California where it's just dirt, and go out there where it's rocks. Don't have no clue how to work it on there. And then there's like little rivers and creeks, and it's so different, but so beautiful.
Yeah. I guess do you have a preference of one over the other, whether it's like mountain biking or road biking?
I prefer road cycling myself because I like to go fast. And I can't go fast in the dirt like that fast. And but I like, mountain biking and gravel riding because the views are different, and then it's a different type of challenge. Road cycling, you're on the street with cars, so you have that to worry about. When you're on the trails, there's no cars. There's possibly other bikes, maybe a couple people walking, but it's usually not congested or anything like that, and it's more peaceful.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point. It's pretty quiet in the outdoors, especially if you get a little ways from the city.
Yeah, definitely.
But like with the competitive riding, does it get pretty competitive, or are people like respectful with the competition, or do you kind of just like kind of get amped up in the moment?
I'm not competitive. I definitely not, but I know people do. They get, ramped up, and they um I don't know, turn it on, and they do their thing. I compete with myself. I just do it for self-improvement. And sometimes I get maybe a little competitive going downhill. It's not that I'm going getting competitive. I just like to go as fast as I possibly can. So and yeah.
I like that. I guess what do you do when you're not biking, if you don't mind me asking?
Like what other sports or?
Other sports, work, hobbies, or I guess I'm guessing, but cycling would be your main hobby.
Right now it is, but I have a lot of hobbies. I don't like people talk about training and working out. I don't really consider that my lifestyle. I just live an active lifestyle instead of saying that I train and I'm training for an event. I'm always active doing different activities, which right now it's cycling, and before it was obstacle course racing, and at one point in time I tried boxing. So it's just where I'm at in this chapter. I also still go to the gym, and I have two kids, so they kind of keep me a little busy. They're not young though; they're older now.
Mm, that's
But
cool. I guess the reason I asked what else you do is because you seem to have like a problem solving mind, or when like if you find something you like, you might want to like tinker with it a little bit, or just see like where it leads you, and not put the pressure on yourself to be like, oh, I've got to have an obsession over this thing. But like it might be like the Cali thing, to where you guys are maybe more laid back, but also in the South we're pretty laid back. But like it's pretty neat to see just how people see things, and just how you choose to like approach a new thing that you discover, and like how much further you kind of go with it in your own way.
I'm very impulsive and spontaneous with everything. So, I mean, I don't know how much you know or have researched me, but I have two podcasts that I have started. One is called Unrelenting Humans, and I started that during the pandemic after I injured my leg. I met a lot of athletes that were injured or adaptive athletes, and I just wanted to tell their stories because stories like that helped me while I was recovering from my injury, to inspire me to, get better and to show me that like it's not over. Like you can be resilient. Like this could be a teachable moment and you can come back stronger than ever. And so I wanted to do that for people. And then I also started another podcast called Black with Endurance, where I share the stories of Black athletes in endurance sports, because endurance sports is predominantly white male sport. And
Mhm.
you very, very few Black athletes, and very even more few Black athletes, female athletes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share those stories because it's not that they're not there, they're just not getting the exposure of other athletes. And so I still work with my like I made a Facebook group and an Instagram page for Black with Endurance. So I
Mhm.
still those and try to highlight some athletes and find athletes and give them resources that I find. Like if I see that a company is looking for athletes for a certain project or something, then I will
Mhm.
refer as many Black athletes as I can, because if they apply, then they get picked, and that's exposure. And
Mhm.
whether or not they know it or not, someone's going to see them and someone's going to be inspired just because they saw this person that they could relate to.
Right.
So it's different for everybody. So
That's awesome. I guess I'm curious, since you do podcasts and you have those two different avenues, like what has the interaction been like for you with the guests? Like how have you changed, and like kind of what's been their reception to you, like even before and like after the fact?
um well, I guess honestly, this telling these people stories and interviewing them was very inspiring for me as well, I noticed. And they loved being interviewed and getting their stories out there as much as I loved hearing their stories and gaining that inspiration and sharing that story to inspire others. And I think that's what has led me to where I am today in, I guess, cycling. Because some of the stories of the people that I've interviewed and hearing the hardships that they had went through to get to where they were and what inspired them to try. And like I said, a lot of these athletes, they're not in the top um uh, they're not at the top level in their sport. They're not
Right,
like on.
right,
They're
right,
not getting.
right,
They're not even being seen. They have like
right.
a follow couple hundred, and they're just doing their thing in their sport.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that because they're more relatable,
Mhm.
that people more than seeing the person that's the top person in that sport. You see, somebody that's a professional athlete that's winning all these races and stuff. That that's not going to be you because you got to go to work all day and then
Right.
you got to feed the kids and walk the dog. So that's not relatable. Congratulations to that person, but when you see somebody that is on-call nurse that also has kids and has a sick mom and is working through other like mental health issues, that goes out and runs marathons, that's more inspiring. That's like, oh, I could do it too. If she could do it,
Right.
going all that shit that she's going through,
Mhm.
I can do. Like, so.
I like that. And I like that you stuck with the athletics because that's your background where you started and like in going through your own journey of healing. Like you thought, hey, I can also reach out to people and kind of like find a way to build myself up and also build other people up in the process. So it's
Yeah.
like a funny parallel between us because like I started this podcast to highlight everyday people in a way to acknowledge people that I've worked with over the years, especially in like construction and the trades, people going through college and stuff like that, where we do a lot of remote work you might not see, but it's like people working like on the night shift, making sure that the power's turned on when nobody would otherwise know, or people that work at paper mills that like make paper products, this and that and everything else. But it's really cool to see it from like the athletic standpoint because um athletes always seem like just superhuman in a sense, but just like seeing the struggles and like even seeing someone like Selena and seeing like her posting, like seeing you posting like your route to recovery and like how it is that you're going through the transition. It really makes
You
it.
froze.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Internet's been acting up down here with the weather patterns.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
you froze. You stopped at seeing athletes like Selenia.
Right. I was saying seeing athletes like her and yourselves like go through that recovery process and just continue to document the process and also be willing to share it is inspiring to like just be like, okay, maybe I don't have it that hard. Or if I do have it that hard, someone else is able to get through it. Like you said, like I can also get through this. And then maybe I can try something new.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I guess what's this year been like for you? 2022.
For me, it's been a little chaotic. See, this is the first year that I felt like I was back to kind of almost 100% since my injury. So I've been off way more than I could chew this year. I've just been go, go, go. Like, so I'm kind of just calming down now, but I had like booked more events than I could actually do, done more traveling than I've done, and I've just been overwhelmed with trying to, I don't know, do everything, which I have to, stop. And well, this year is, it's almost over, honestly. So
Yeah.
I'm very proud of everything I've accomplished this year, and I'm gonna take the last 2 months of the year off of doing any like sports training. Really, I mean, I'll still train, but I'm not like going to do any crazy adventures. And then next year, I'm really gonna own in on just cycling and focus on that and see how far I can go and what I can do. I mean, I've accomplished so much in just 1 year that I'm really excited and eager to see just what else this bag of bones can do.
Yeah. Well, I almost missed it because you said you just started riding September of last year. So during all that time, you've done all the adventure racing, the 500-mile ride, and like all of those things. I don't know if I've ridden 10 miles in a year, but not trying to compare. It's just like that. That is amazing, kind of putting that into perspective as to how much you've accomplished within the period of a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's how I started. I started doing like 5 miles around the neighborhood. And then I think I did 10. And then one day I decided to push myself and do like 20 miles. It was like Veterans Day or something. I don't know. And then I was like, if I can do 20, I can, do more. And I saw like people doing century rides, which is so that became my goal. Like, I want to do a century ride 100 miles at one time.
Yeah.
So I achieved that. And then learning that most cyclists do it faster. Like they can do it in like 5 hours, where it took me like 8 hours. And then like there was just more challenging rides. Like it's scratching the surface. Like
Yeah.
the community is almost like a Narnia. Like it's like you once you buy a bike and then you start like digging and learning more, you kind of fall into this weird wardrobe, and then you see that there's way more to it and way more possibilities.
Yeah.
But great to start within your comfort zone and your level of fitness. So
Mm.
10 miles on the neighborhood is epic, especially, do it with friends and family,
Mhm.
get out, work up a sweat, and do it for the exercise purposes. Everybody does not have to be an endurance athlete. Don't ever think because you hear that someone did 100 miles that you got to go do 100 miles. You really don't.
Right.
It
I
doesn't feel, it doesn't.
I guess with that, like, do you have a playlist that you like to listen to when you ride, or you just kind of just go clear mind, just take in the sight, take in the atmosphere?
I do not go clear. I love music, and it really goes with my mood more or less. So I like to listen when I'm like chilling and having like a slow ride. I love to listen to R&B. So I use Pandora. So I just put on like R&B stations, and then for like more intense rides, I listen to rap music. So I want to hear something a little bit gangster, maybe a little ratchet music, but so it varies.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like you said, being able to ride with the family, like you can take the kids and they can be like, okay, like we're gonna circle the block, or we'll go a little bit further, or just go as far as you can. And then if you want to ride back, I'll just meet you back home.
Yeah, yeah, you can do stuff like that. My kids won't, but people who have cool kids, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, maybe they'll who knows? They might circle back and be like, you might be on to something. It's like I heard about you. It's like, oh, my friend said they heard about you over here. It's like, oh, okay, like let me go with you now.
I'm hoping. I'm crossing my fingers for that.
Yeah.
So
So I guess with like we said with 2023 just being right around the corner, like have you thought that far yet, or have you looked up to it?
with 2023, like what I want to do.
Hmm.
A little bit. I've seen a couple like different cross state rides that I want to do. And just ultimately I want to get faster, and I may possibly try racing. But mostly the biggest thing I want to do is travel and like get out of the country and just, enjoy living.
Mm.
So that's
Well,
on like my priority list.
I like it. It's funny. I almost forgot it wasn't the camping trip that inspired me to go riding. One of my coworkers that was a drafter that like working in an engineering office, and he would do drafting, but he would also like to ride his bike to work and then do races. I think he told me about a race that he was going to do. It was different ages, and I think he was going to be racing in like the 50 and up, and
Oh
like
yeah.
just seeing guys that are like from 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, like just blazing down the road on this race. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like I can I can do something. Like if I'm not gonna be able to run or if I don't want to run, maybe I can just go for a leisure ride or just feel a little bit of that need for speed. And kind of going back to the Tour de France, the thing that would always get me with them was how much excitement the announcers would have, especially for the sprint races. And you would see the guys get on there and they're just like, he's dancing on the pedals. And it's like, man, okay, that looks like fun.
That's so dope. I love it. I barely watched my first one this year,
Mhm.
and so seeing them and the speeds that they do and the distances, it's like, oh my god, that's like superhuman. Like, oh my god. But like you said, there's people like all ages, and the I like cycling because it's not an impact sport like running where it's easier on your knees. And a lot of people when they get older start doing cycling and swimming. So why not start there? When
Right.
you're young or get injured.
Yeah. And it's good for cardio because it's like low impact, you burn some calories, and it's like you get to see a lot more than you would maybe walking or running, but and it's like you get a good balance of like both worlds and things like that.
Definitely. I love it.
Awesome. Well,
I'm sorry. Can you hear the dog? He's
not not really. It's
okay.
funny because like I can't sometimes when I have sound on my end, I I hear it like if somebody's mowing the grass outside, but whenever I check with the other person, they're like, "Nope, I don't hear anything." So it's like I probably won't notice until listening back to it, but you're fine. I hadn't really heard much.
Okay.
But I was gonna ask you, unless you have any questions for me, I was gonna ask you um two questions. One, how can people get in touch with you or just continue following your journey?
I am most active on Instagram. My Instagram is Lani the Adventurer, spelled LANI Adventure ADVENTURER.
I'll have
On
it down. I'll have it in the description and all that
that,
for you.
I put it in the thing. And then I also am on Facebook. My name is Lani Woods, so you can follow me there. I'm trying to be active on TikTok, but I don't really understand how that works. But and yeah, you can always contact me on through Instagram, and I believe it's connected to my WhatsApp if you have any questions or any advice on getting into cycling or obstacle course racing. I'm here.
Awesome. And to kind of bring it back to the first question I asked you, are you still who you said you were?
Lonnie the Adventurer? Oh, always, yes. I don't think that one will ever change.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And it was great to meet you. Great to have this conversation and hope to stay in touch and just continue following your progress. And I'll bust my bike back out and get a little ride in.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely tag me if you are you on Strava?
What's that?
Strava, it's an app where you kind of share your workouts and your rides or running and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it they have also maps for trails and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So kind of a social app, but for fitness or
It sounds
more.
like sounds like something I need to get.
But yeah, definitely. And yeah, if you join, there's challenges in there too.
Mm,
Like I was challenged for my Black with Endurance group, and we kind of compete with how many miles we do a month or how
mm,
much time we spend working out a month to kind of motivate each other, especially
gotcha.
during to keep each other motivated.
Mm,
So it's fun.
yeah, I like that. I guess I'm glad you asked it because in the past I've done like the couch to 5K or the couch to 10K, couch to I think I tried to do the 25K, but I backed off of it, but it was mostly running. and maybe done like Fitbit before, like trying to do the tracker, but this might be a good alternative with those challenges, actually having something else to work towards and then like socialize a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Having the support of other people, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I like it. But for now, I'm just getting some walks in around the neighborhood. I think I like walked to the mailbox a few times and I was like, I could probably walk the block. And my little cul-de-sac neighborhood has 4 streets in it. So I was like, I'll just make one small loop, a bigger loop, bigger loop, a bigger loop, and just walk home. And it's like, it works. And I can be consistent with it for now. So I'll
No,
start there and just keep building a little bit.
definitely. Well, I appreciate you for having me on
You're very
and
welcome.
yeah, following your journey as well.
Thank you.